All right. Welcome all. Hello, hello. People are starting to stream in. We've got Johnny A. We've got Jonathan. We've got a few people coming in. What's going on? Welcome to Yoda Live. Um, all right, good stuff. Let's see, who else is here? Johnny A liking the live. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Orange Crush Ocean. Is that what that? Yep, Orange Crush. Hello. All right, so we are getting up and running. Hello, Craig. Let me dive into to nothing. Today is Saturday chill. I don't have a topic. Oh man. Although I have an idea for a conversation starter. I have an idea. I'll give you a hint. It revolves around entertainment. Hello, Carol. Or do you prefer Carol Sue? So today is Saturday, July 19th, 2025, and it's moist. Hello, John. Pleasure to have you. Says you came from one of my posts. Excellent. Even better. Hello, Kathy. All right, people are slowly streaming in. It's a lazy Saturday in the middle of the summer. We are starting to cook. I mean, it's not exactly the middle, but we're getting close. We're getting close. Lloydster, what's up? John says, every night I gotta listen to this racist. So today is day Satur. To stop talking about race all the time. People love one another. Stop talking race. Hey, John, let's take that approach to cancer. Let's stop talking about cancer and somehow it'll go away, right? That's a great plan. Lloydster, let's see. You know what? Let me read this on my phone. It'll be easier. Vancouver, we have the snowbirds tonight and fireworks for a couple 3 days. Should be interesting. Okay. So, what are the fireworks for, Lloydster? Is there a yearly celebration? I thought maybe I read John's comment wrong, but clearly I read it correctly. The idea about stop talking race. Let's see what else. Why can't we learn to understand that we are all human and need to get a long period? I'm assuming you meant to get along. So no one is saying we can't. So that's a weird question because it contains a faulty presupposition. So now John goes on to say, some people never learn. You're going to spend the rest of your life in reverse. These are weird things, John. So I know it's difficult to convey thoughts in the chat, so I'm going to invite you up. And I'm not inviting you up to berate you. I'm inviting you up so that you can have an easier time expressing yourself than the limits that are in the chat. So please come up so that you can Explain more about what you're trying to say because I'm not quite clear on what your message is. All right, Lloydster, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. Yeah, Saturday's usually a quiet night. People are busy enjoying themselves and all that stuff. John has not come up yet for some reason. Um, but I'd like you to come up, John. I'd like to understand what you're trying to say because half of your message is positive and the other half is negative. So, and again, I know in text it's hard to convey your thoughts clearly. Wow. Lloydster says he just went through triple bypass weeks ago and I'm feeling much better. That's excellent, man. I'm glad that you came through that okay. I understand from my own personal experience what major surgery is like, and I know how challenging it is. So, best wishes, my friend. Best wishes. I hope it all turns out well. I hope your recovery continues. Got an errant hair just fell on my lips. Oh, man. So, yeah, back in 2012, since we've got a small group and my regulars are not here yet, back in 2012, I had brain surgery. And it was actually two surgeries. So I was diagnosed on a Monday, and it was so serious that, damn it, that my the surgeon at the hospital, he was going on vacation, but he didn't want me to wait the 5 days. He thought it was so serious that it had to be attended to immediately. So they brought in a specialist, brain surgeon of 30 years, also specialized in spinal surgery. Hello, Blue. Good to see you. And so Tuesday was the first surgery. It was technically a minor surgery. And what they did was send a wire in through my groin up to my skull so that they could deprive the tumor of oxygen and blood. And that was a quick surgery, relatively speaking. They didn't even put me all the way under. I was sedated, but not knocked out. And then the next morning was the major surgery where they popped the top and scooped out the gunk. And luckily, I walked out 5 days later, although they told me that it could have taken, they said I might have been in the hospital for 2 or 3 weeks based on their experience with this kind of surgery. Brain surgery is tricky because all sorts of problems can result. And I didn't have any of those problems, luckily. They told me that I would likely have physical therapy, but when the physical therapist visited me, I remember they said, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? And I did a few things that they asked. And then they said, yeah, I have no work for you. You're fine. And I think the next day or 2 days later is when I was released. And, the first couple of weeks were harrowing. I had some bad experiences. I had a bad reaction to the medication that they gave me initially. And that actually, even though that was horrifying, because I had to be rushed back to the hospital like 3 days after I got out, um, that mistake that they made in the medication wound up um, getting them to not charge me any money because the cost of the surgeries and the hospital stay was $250,000. And, I knew going in it was going to be expensive and I'd never pay that back more than likely. But, I didn't know exactly how expensive it was going to be. I just knew, yeah, this is going to sting. Um, but when I called about the bill just to wrap my head around it, they said, no, that's been paid. So they went to their donors, they tapped their donor pool and the donors paid my bill so that the hospital wouldn't be sued. Blue Dog, damn, what's going on? Even though you spelled Yoda incorrectly for me, I'm okay with that. You probably spoke into the phone and the phone spells Yoda the way of the Star Wars character, but I spell it Yoddah because film studios are litigious. So, Blue Dog, I'll bring you on in just a moment. So yeah, um, Lloydster got me thinking about that experience and how, you know, uh, surgery can be daunting. I got the surgery like 3 weeks before my 48th birthday. And ironically, Adam York of the Beastie Boys was in the hospital around the same time. Hello, Desi Dash, is it? Yes, Desi Dash. Welcome back. Um, and unfortunately, Adam York did not survive his ordeal. And he was my favorite Beastie Boy. Actually, he's the only one whose voice I actually enjoyed hearing in the band because the other ones were too shrill. You know. Um, but anyway, I made it out. He didn't, which stinks. And I think we were close in age. I got to double check that. So, as always, folks, keep tapping the screen. We've got 8 people, 7 people now. We can definitely get those numbers up. Normally, at the end of 2 hours, I got 100,000 likes. Um, Not required, certainly, but always appreciated. It lets TikTok know that people are watching and enjoying the live. So that's always a good thing. So Adam York, let's see, when was he born? Yeah, we were the same age. I was born in May of 1964, and he was born in August of 1964. I went to the hospital in April 2012. He went in at around the same time, and unfortunately, he passed May 4th, 2012. And I believe it was also of a brain thing. Let me see if I'm remembering that correctly. Wiki usually tells people the reason. Yeah. So he had a cancerous parotid gland and lymph node, easy for me to say. He oh my God. He underwent surgery and radiation therapy and yeah. So, interestingly enough, in his last will and testament, he left instructions that his music not be used in advertising. Interesting. Yeah. Same age. And I got older and he didn't. That's kind of wild. So thank you for everyone doing the heart me's. The heart me's on top is good stuff. You get like up to 85 points for doing all the stuff the heart me says. Once you send it, then you can reclaim 45 points. And then if you send a comment, you get 30 points. And then you do a couple other things. You get like up between 65 and 85 points. Um, and you join my fan club, um, which is different than a subscription, which we'll get to eventually. But we're building the fan club, and that's going to mean that eventually I'm going to start doing bonus sessions, and probably on Discord, so that we can speak a little bit differently. Got a couple of people trying to come up. Let's see what's going on. Okay. Oh, we got Bible Baby. Excellent. And Blue Dog. Damn, I will bring you up right now. What's up, Bible Baby?
Hello, Yoda. I don't know if I've been on your panel or not yet.
I don't recall that you have, but don't rely on my memory. How you doing this evening?
Yeah, I'm good. I was just coming up to say that that was a great vacation story, and if you want to tell it again, I don't know. Yeah, I would want to hear it again. Not now or now.
Oh, the
You might
the
want
uh,
to
the
hear it.
honeymoon that I took in
Yeah,
2001.
the honeymoon.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, it is a great
Because I
vacation
missed the
story.
first part of it.
Yeah,
But
well, who knows? We'll see how the night goes. Anything's possible. I
well,
do
let's see how
love
the
telling
life
that story.
life goes.
I don't tell it often, but hey, why not? Anything's possible. Other than
Just
that, how
coming
you
up with
doing?
flatter. That yeah, not too bad. I'm hanging out. It's been a fun day.
I got you. Yeah, I caught you when you were, I believe, a guest on someone else's live, and you were discussing the Bible, which is one of my favorite topics. I've been having that conversation since I was a teenager, and I am atheist for whatever that means, and I'm always interested in people who speak intelligently about the subject.
Okay, I'll go down to chat then.
No, you can. That's funny. No, yeah, and you don't have to talk about it now. But again, I appreciated what I
No,
heard when you were a guest
yeah,
elsewhere.
honestly, but oh, sorry for interrupting.
No worries.
No, I took a sales class and I found out how bad of a communicator I really am, and then TikTok. But I'm gonna go take a couple classes. I know I remember taking it. Obviously, I did the freshman in college. I mean, obviously, no one would know that. But then I dropped out of college. But I did take that communication class.
Interesting. Yeah, me too.
Still, just I had a difficult time. I've had difficult times. Let's say the last decade was pretty bad, pretty difficult for me. But I
Uh-huh.
don't know. And as far as the Bible goes, my position on the Bible and religion is I found out the Bible isn't exactly true, and I found out Christianity is exactly true. And then I looked at Islam and found out. So my position is none of these religions are true. My position is basically God. We're all, God loves us. My faith is based on my supernatural. I hate to say, I have an actual relationship with God. I didn't mean to say supernatural, but I wanted to say yes. Like just a quick, me and my two friends were in a room one time. We're talking about Jesus. We see these flashes of light, and this it start a couple times in the room. We don't know where this is coming from. It's not a. It's a spiritual phenomenon. We can feel it spiritually in our psyche, and we can all see it together, and we're all just like amazed together. And and then the other stuff, God has spoke to me directly. He's told me the word of God. It was amazing, and it's for sure, it's not something I'm doubting. It's and so at the end of the day, that's where my foundation is. It's on the God is absolute, and what? Okay, so God, what is God? God is absolute. Who is or what? And who is God? He's like Jesus, so he's nice, but also he has a dark side. Like and not a dark side, but sorry for that laugh too.
It's
It's
okay.
awful.
Okay.
But it's the his he's inexorable. Do you know how to say that word? Maybe you do.
Inexorable.
Inexorable when it comes to sin. So no matter what, he's not going to budge on murder being bad. No matter what, he's not going to
That's not
bad
true,
on.
though.
Oh, hold on,
So,
hold on. He's not going to budge on the.
yeah.
I did. Can I please land? I got 15
Sure, sure,
seconds.
sure.
So I'll wrap it up. I know I've talked too long. He's so that's what this is why I believe. Who is God? He's absolute. What is he like? He's like Jesus in that. Yeah, he's kind and fair, and he tells everybody, "Hey, let's be fair." And he didn't like religious hypocrisy. And then and you say that's not true. But here's we're not. I didn't fit it. My book that I learned about Jesus from is called the Urantia book, and I mean that would put that above the Bible any day. It's and there's 900 pages in that one. It's over 2,000 pages long, but it's got 900 pages of a detail of Jesus' life. And this is your first time, maybe first time hearing about it. But that's my. What, you want me to land now, or do you want me to explain what this is?
I have no agenda about the direction of your conversation. So feel free to captain that ship any way you like.
Well, okay. What it is the Urantia book is tells you that it's the fatherhood of God, brotherhood of mankind was Jesus's message, and the Jays at the time were like, "Nah, we're special. We're only God loves us." They didn't want to share Yahweh with the world, and then he was put to. But there's a lot of things that the Bible doesn't get right about it. Like Jesus wasn't a sacrifice of atonement. He wasn't born from a virgin, right? And this, but I'll tell you my favorite part about Jesus is his dad died when he was 15. A derrick fell on him and ended his life, and and that's why Jesus called Herod that fox, because actually Herod owed him money, because when he was putting together a building for Herod, and they was like took him to court, like they were supposed to give him some money, because they did that back then. They were that civilized back then where they pay families if an injury like that happened. Anyway, point is, Jesus from that point.
Sir, how are you going to talk about Jesus when you were literally on the phone with a 16-year-old?
Okay, so someone that doesn't have self-control
That could have been
is
an agent too. They do that to gauge their reactions to see if there's any that could have
whatever. I
been a
mean,
cop move. I'm serious. That could have been
whatever it is.
conspiracy.
I don't
That's
like
funny.
people
That's why I
with
laugh.
no self-control. So let's do this. Because you're no offense, but you've brought up a lot of different subjects all at once.
Well, yeah, I
And
did,
so
and I got lost
let
in
me
the middle
just,
right
oh,
there.
easy, settle. We're gonna have a conversation. It's okay. There's no rush. So when I said that's not true, it's when you said something to the effect of God has laid out that schmurder is absolutely wrong, and I don't see how that's possible since he took out everyone on earth except a family of 8 with a flood. And he directed people to end the lives of other people constantly throughout the Bible. So it's not a minor point, because when people say things like God is loving, I go, where's the proof of that? Because the proof of the opposite is all over the Bible. And, I have not heard of the book that you referenced, but, that's fine. Like there's a lot of people who've written a lot of books, and whatever gets you through the night is cool. I don't know if I'll ever read it, but it doesn't really matter. Um, I'm not looking for more information or different information. I don't read um, anything, and so you're typing as I'm talking to you, which means you're probably not paying attention. So the blue dog Dem, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing fine, Yoda. How are you?
I'm excellent. And blue dog has decided to drop. Okay, or I'm sorry, not blue dog. Bible baby has decided to drop. To drop. Yeah, he was typing as I was talking to him, which means he wasn't paying attention to me. That's strange to want to come on someone's panel and then not engage with them. But anyway, for some reason Danny's not here, but I'm guessing he is doing something significant because he's almost always here. But
Or probably just running late.
could be.
So Yoda, I don't really mean to take over your life, but
You
um,
can't take over my life. But go ahead. What's on your mind?
but I never thought this would affect me like it's affecting me now. But can we talk about the flood in Texas?
Of course. When I ask what's on your mind, I mean what's on your mind. If that's what's on your mind, go for it.
Yes, that's what's on my mind. I feel sorry for all those families and those camp counselors and those hundreds of girls that lost their unalived in the flood. I'm just gonna put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I just never knew how significant it was till I watched a video of one survivor they found so far. And the pictures I saw were devastating.
Yeah, seeing people suffer is difficult. If you have any level of compassion or any level of empathy for other human beings, it's going to
And I do.
it's going to take a toll. It's it reminds me of that scene in Star Wars where Obi-Wan Kenobi and Luke were talking, and suddenly Obi-Wan almost collapsed and had to sit down in a chair in heaps, and he put his hand to his head, and that was right after an entire planet got incinerated by the Empire,
On a
right?
live star?
And the that's what it is to be human. When you see that someone else is suffering, you feel that, because nobody wants to see that, right? People generally speaking, if they are healthy and functional mentally and emotionally, they are going to feel sad at somebody else's suffering. So you're
Exactly.
on the right team. You're on Team Humanity. And of course,
Right.
that the understanding that doesn't make anything better. It still sucks that there are people suffering, especially when they didn't have to suffer. They were offered money by Biden, and they refused it because it was Biden offering them money. The camp was told about the flood problem, and so they built new cabins higher up, but never closed the cabins that were lower down, which they were told would be a better idea. But, more cabins means more money. So because of their greed, they put people's lives in jeopardy.
Right.
So it sucks.
And if I'm not mistaken, they're still finding bodies or trying to find survivors.
Yeah, the search continues. There's a chance that they'll find more people alive, hopefully.
I hope so.
I think they've lost something like 130, 132, I think I heard the other day. But yeah, it's a sad thing, man. It's sad to know that as we speak right now, someone is passing away in a very painful way from hunger. And I think every night and every day, basically, every 24 hours, roughly 16,000 people pass away from hunger. And It's a
Yeah.
painful way to go.
Hunger or natural disasters.
Nope, just hunger. 16,000 people, just hunger.
Wow, I didn't realize there was that high.
Yeah. And the sad reality, in my opinion, is that not one person has to go hungry. There's no real reason for anyone to go hungry on Earth. The Earth was literally
Exactly.
designed to sustain life, and the reason why people go hungry is because a small group of people decided that they were the keepers of the resources. And you have to pay them for the resources. And if you can't pay for the resources, you can't get the resources.
Right. But in my opinion, I don't know if you share the same opinion, but I'm just praying that after this clown show of an administration is out of office, that somebody will reallocate the money so we can get the food banks up and running again, or at least try to help those who are going hungry so they never go hungry again.
Yeah, it won't happen. There'll be some gesture to make it seem like it's all good, but it won't happen. And it doesn't matter who gets in. It's not going to happen. You know, they
Well,
might restore some of the things that Dump broke, but look, Barack Obama was president 8 years. Did he codify Roe v. Wade? No, he didn't. You know, did he
no.
put more liberal judges on? Did Joe Biden? Joe Biden had 2 years where he could have made the Supreme Court 19 judges if he wanted to. From my understanding, and I haven't looked thoroughly at this, but I did listen to a lot of constitutional scholars discuss this. There is nothing in the Constitution that limits the number of judges on the Supreme Court. So, you know, they'll all talk a good game about revolution and change and restoring this and that and the other thing, and then they won't do it. They'll give us
Well,
crumbs and expect us to be happy. Hi, Zaza. Thank you for being here.
well, to be fair, let's just put it where it is. Both the Democrats and Republicans are flawed because both parties at this point have lost their ever-loving minds because they have.
When was it better? When was it better? And I
I'm
don't
not. I'm not.
agree with your assessment, but when was it better? When was everything running well?
I never said it was running well, but I am going to say that both parties need to be fixed because there are things that the Democrats do wrong, and there are a lot of things that the Republicans do wrong. And I know I'm not the only one that shares this opinion, but I think there needs to be a threat of a third party to make the Democrats and Republicans realize that they don't work for themselves, they work for the people who elected them, and that's what they've forgotten because all they're doing now is lining their pockets with money.
Yeah. I don't see that happening because here's the bottom line. And under the matrix, how is Joe Biden going to add up to 19 judges to the Supreme Court when all require confirmation? I mean, it's doable. It's the same way that Dump added 3. It's definitely doable. And so here's why I say it's not going to happen. Because I want you to consider what you're proposing. And this is how I hear it. So, you know, I'm not saying this is what you said. This is how I hear what you said. You want the people benefiting from how the system is now to change the system.
Yes, and I'm aware that they're not going to do that because it's benefiting them and not us.
But yet that's what people keep saying needs to happen.
Right.
right? You just said it tonight. This is what needs to happen. The system needs to change. How? How will, like, these people are literally, they are the system. They are the only ones that have the power to change the system, and they are benefiting from how the system is now. So why would they change it?
You know what? You're exactly right. And Yoda, I don't have the answer, but
It's a rhetorical question. There is no answer. It's obvious that they're not going to change the system that they benefit from, because these people vote for their salary every year, right? And somehow they vote to increase their salary every year, while everybody else has to live on the same money while prices go up, while minimum wage has not increased in 16 years, and they vote on the laws, they vote on their districts. You know how gerrymandering works? It's a funny thing if you've never seen it, but it's
yeah,
sad
yes, I
when you
do.
when you when you actually see how they do it. It's sad and pathetic. They take a map and they
It
find out
is.
who voted for them, and they draw a map around all the houses that voted for them, and exclude people that didn't vote for them, so their district becomes 100% made up of their voters. So every time another election comes up, oh, there's no one who opposes them voting against them. It's
Yeah, yeah.
insane. That's an
A-
insane thing to do.
And another one of my friends that I hopped on a live with called that cheating, and effectively, that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean,
Because they like to
Republicans have
gerrymander.
admitted it. Um, the last time the specter of the Electoral College was raised, I remember watching clips of at least two Republicans that said, if we get rid of the Electoral College, Republicans will never win another election. What's that say about your party? I mean, because what are we seeing right now? Are we seeing an administration that
No, we're
is
just
governing
seeing we're,
that is doing the job of governing? They're not governing. They're not interested in governance. They're interested in ripping off the treasury and ripping off poor people, ripping
yeah,
off
and just
older
lining their
people,
own
ripping off
pockets.
children. This is what they're doing. They're not governing at all, and there's no one to hold them accountable.
Exactly. And both you and I share the same political beliefs that we both like the Democratic Party for the simple reason that the Democrats are supposedly for the people.
Hey Nick, you might want to try learning how to count. Dump got like 2 million more votes. But so did Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton got 2.89 million more votes. But I doubt that you were defending her back in 2016. Pardon me.
But I agree with you, Yoda. This is not a body of governance right now. What we live under is a almost authoritarian clown junk drawer administration, because they're just interested in lining their own pockets with their own interest and their own money by ripping people like you and me off when all that money
Hold
has
on,
been
hold that
promised.
thought. I don't know where you're getting your information from, Nick, but every official count shows 77 million to 75 million. So I know MAGA hats are allergic to facts, but since you're spreading election misinformation, you have got to go. That's something that TikTok is very, very serious about. They will not allow election misinformation. You barely can talk about it without getting in trouble. But anyway, 37 folks in here. We're at 9,000. We're behind the normal pace, but that's okay. I know you guys are into the conversation. Well, please remember to keep tapping your screen. Just let TikTok know that this conversation is happening and invite other people in. You can share the live. Excuse me. I don't know why I can't clear my throat this evening, but you can share the live one of two ways. You can go to the share icon on the bottom right and share with 10 of your friends, or you can hold your finger on the screen and your friends list will pop up. And by next to every one of their names will be the word send, and you can just go down and send to up to 30 at a time. So either way, hello CompuBear, how you doing? So,
But
it's funny because normally on Saturdays we don't talk about politics, but it's okay that we're talking about it. So you were going to say?
well, I'm just saying that you and I are on the same side, and I'm sure that you and I can agree that this administration has been a clown junk drawer of an
Yeah, I
administration.
don't like using the word clown to associate with these people because clowns are funny, and there's nothing funny going on here.
What? Well, and you're right. So, can we just say idiots?
Sure.
Okay.
Although
Di-
that's not really accurate. I don't mind using that word, but it's not accurate because it implies that they have some kind of diminished intelligence. They don't. These are very
right.
intelligent people for the most part. There's
They're just
exceptions. Donnie Dump, Lauren Boebert, Man-faced Trader Green. Uh, these are not smart people,
well,
but the people
Donnie.
that are the most influential, the people really running things like the Peter Thiels of the world, and all of those people that have been behind Project 2025, those are intelligent people, and
Right.
and and
Well,
they took roughly 60 years to put this plan together and execute it, and they've been working incrementally the whole time. This has been a
well then.
slow rollout since the 60s.
Right. Well then, let me put it this way: Donnie Dump put in place a body that does not know how to govern. All they want to
They
do.
of course they know how to govern. This is what I'm trying to tell you. You keep going back to the idea that they don't know. And again, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying there's no indication of this. Of course they know how to govern. They don't want to. They're not there to govern. Okay? They're there to accrue power and money.
Right, and line their own pockets. Which you and I can agree is absurd, because usually when we elect people that know how to govern, but they choose not to, and they choose to line their own pockets with their money and don't want to listen to their constituents, which happen to be the United States citizens, it's appalling.
Politicians stopped listening to their constituents decades ago. They all you have to do for evidence of that is look to national polls. And I don't mean, a poll by People magazine. I mean from polling companies that are reputable, that do these big sweeping polls, and they ask all the important questions about, marriage in the rainbow community, about street candy, about healthcare, about weapons on the street, all these different things that are very important going on right now. And most Americans agree with each other. So how is it that this is called a representative government and the people who are allegedly representing us are not doing what we want.
It's because they don't care.
Right. Because the system is doing what they what they need done. CompuBear, good to see you again as always. How you doing this evening?
Hey, doing good. Been a very, very long day, but I wanted to say, and I guess it's supposed to be good news Saturday. So the good news is that Maxine won her case, and she is able to present all of the stuff that they used to put her in jail for. So she's allowed to release
Maxine,
it.
do you mean Ghislaine Maxwell?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
Yes. 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 I'm trying not to use names that might get us in trouble.
gotcha.
In the epi case. Yes, so she is able to release all of the stuff, and some of it has already been released.
Okay,
So,
that's good. That's good.
well, it's a good thing because I feel vindicated now, right? Like this stuff is going to prove that it wasn't the Clintons, that this whole time it's been Trump, and I feel sorry for MAGA that they were taken on all of this stuff, that they were conned into thinking that it was the Clintons. But this stuff is going to prove otherwise.
Or as
You were going to say, go
or
ahead.
as Yo- or as Yoda likes to refer to him as Donnie Dump.
Hey, WKRP, how you doing?
Hey man, how are you? I'm doing all right. You're glad I caught you a little late, but I'm glad I caught you. And I just wanted to rebuttal to what she said. I mean, that is great about the lady, but I hate that it just had to come to some far as a sting case for everybody to really want to get involved because and look at what everything else is going on. I think that's kind of crazy, but it is what it is.
Technically not a rebuttal, but I get what you're saying. So, here's what I think. It doesn't matter. Um, Chances are he's not going to be held accountable anytime soon
Yeah.
because even if somehow there's a case, he is a sitting president, and you can't bring a criminal case against a sitting president.
That is what they said.
I mean, that's the rules, right? That's how the Justice Department operates. That's why Jack Smith had to stop the cases that he had going against him. That's why a couple of the cases got dropped because he's
Yep.
president. So, I definitely understand the feeling of satisfaction of like, hey, I'm not crazy. I saw what I saw, and there's value in that, certainly. I would never denigrate that. But I'm also a pragmatist, or at least I try to be. And so I tend to ask follow-up questions like, okay, what happens next? Okay, let's say he wasn't president and a case went against him. That would take years
Yeah.
to settle, because, and again, that's the wheels of justice. As it is what it is. This is the legal system that we have, and he has enough money
Yeah.
to appeal. He has enough money to afford decent lawyers, although he can't get the best lawyers anymore because he stiffed all of them. And so now he's down to a pretty ragtag team. But he still can afford legal representation. He can afford to appeal cases because, a lot of justice in America, in my opinion, wrongfully is connected to your income. How good your reputation, your representation is going to be, how good your chances are going to be in court, especially as the charges get more serious, is going to depend almost
Mm-hmm.
entirely on how much money you have to pay for lawyers. Because if you have to go
And
with a
that is
public
the truth.
defender, then again, these people pass the bar, they're real lawyers. I'm not saying they're worthless, but obviously a public defender is not going to be the same as having a law firm with 1,500 lawyers that can research every precedent ever in the history of American law.
And that is true.
So while you may not be able to get him in a court case or criminal case,
I can barely hear you, CompuBear.
So if you can't get him in a court case, and I understand that, my question is, can we get enough people and enough congressmen, because Johnson's broken away, which to me was just an utter surprise. You have, some of the other people that I never expected to pull away either. Can we get enough congressmen to impeach him?
I don't believe that Johnson has pulled away. Mike Johnson is a sociopath, in my opinion, and an inveterate liar. He lies constantly on television. So he might say that he's disgusted with Donnie Dump because it's politically expedient to say that, but I don't believe him.
Okay.
No.
I was just throwing out there because
And-
it's odd that it took the epi case to bring everyone together, like both sides together. And I guess I don't care that's what there's so many more things that should have, right? I mean, like we're so beyond what should have,
Well,
right?
should doesn't, that's like completely insignificant. But let me just pause you on one point.
Okay.
Because I think this is not insignificant. This idea that both sides are together, where are you seeing that? Because I'm not seeing that at all.
I'm seeing clearly a lot of MAGA people. If this really is the case, they want to see this e-file.
What's a lot? Roughly speaking, what's a lot?
Couple hundred, at least.
There's
on
77
TikTok.
million of them.
I get that, but they're. I don't know. All the news seems to say that this is where they're at because they were promised. I get that, but they were promised, right? The whole point of voting for Trump, I heard a lot of it before Trump became president, right? That they want that their whole reason for voting for Trump was to get rid of the pedophiles, in Congress, and to get rid of the Clintons and get rid of all of these people, including, I have to say it, the Pizzagate situation.
That's not what I heard at all. I've been doing lives for a year now, and I've been listening to lives for a year now, and almost every time you ask a MAGA hat why they voted for Dump, WKRP, what do they say?
The border.
Right. That's the number one thing. And the number two thing is the economy. I literally have never heard one of them say that their reason for voting for him was to get rid of the PDOs. Not one. And again, this is subjective. This is my experience. I'm not saying your experience is incorrect, right? So
Right.
What I absolutely don't care what the news says, because that to me is completely fucking useless. Right. However, in my experience, Dump has lied to them many, many, many times about almost everything. Starting from his first administration, he promised all this shit that he didn't deliver. What he promised in this administration, he didn't deliver, except this absurd and unorganized and dangerous effort to deport people, right? But even that, he's not accomplishing the way he promised. So the idea that it's about promises not kept, I'm not fully connected to that, because every single day I'm on TikTok listening to MAGA hats defending him still. So I agree that there is a number, which we can't quantify at this point, of MAGA hats that have peeled off and said enough is enough. Undoubtedly, that's true. But again, there's 77 million of them.
Yeah, they don't care about that.
There are a few congressmen who have said that too. Republican congressmen who have peeled off too. Is it enough? Is it enough?
What just happened with the big beautiful bill vote?
That's what I was just finna say. That a lot of them say, "Oh no, I'm not gonna go for the man." Time he called them in the back.
They went on television publicly, and said, "Oh, this bill is terrible. There's no way," and then they voted for it.
Do you think in some way, because I know that just before the bill was finalized, that there were about 7 Congress people that had said no, they weren't voting for him. And he took every one of them privately into his office, and every one of them came out saying, "Oh, I'm going to vote for the bill now." Do you think he in some way threatened them or threatened their families?
Absolutely.
I am not confident enough to say absolutely to conjecture. So I would say that it is standard operating procedure on a vote for the president and other politicians to talk to their fellow politicians to try to convince try to convince them to vote. The nature of that conversation would be totally conjecture. Is it likely that he threatened them in some way? Yes. That way is unknowable
Yeah.
to us. It could have been political threatening because he does love to do that. He says, "Hey, if you disagree with me, I'll primary you," right? He said that publicly. So the rest I can't assume that I know. It's possible, certainly. Whether he threatened their families, that might be a stretch. Although for him, it would be on brand, but I can't feel confident saying absolutely that happened.
Well,
I
I
like what
wouldn't put
Jeb
it.
said, bribery.
I'm
Shit.
sorry.
Yeah.
Hold on. WKRP, what'd you say?
I was just saying what one of the persons in the platform, well, down below was saying, Jeb said most, talking about bribery. I said, hey, that could be. Hey, most definitely.
The only reason I think it isn't bribery in this scenario is that Dump loves to exert power, right? He doesn't come from because a bribe is a weak position, right? A bribe is like, I hope
Mm-hmm.
this amount of
Yeah.
money will get you to do what I want to
Yeah.
do. He doesn't like to come from weakness. So my
Mm-hmm.
assumption is that it was some kind of intimidation, but again, I can't
Got you.
know the
Yeah,
version
I
of
got you.
intimidation.
Yeah, I got you. That's well said. Well said.
And I'm not. And I'm not going to put it past him to threaten congressmen because in his last administration, he threatened um, Mike Pence and his family and directly
I
put.
don't know that that's true. I've never heard that he threatened Mike Pence and his family. Where are you getting that from?
That was on. I want to say not Meet the Press. The other, what is the other show we watch? But he did. He was on there like just before this campaign, and came out and said, I'm not holding this back anymore. He threatened me and my family."
Yeah,
Oh, so
with
Mike
the
Pence
whole.
said that, but again, what evidence is there that that happened?
Well, the
You
whole
mean Mike Pence saying it himself? Is that what you're
January.
asking?
No, well that's not evidence. That's technically hearsay.
Okay.
Well, the whole January 6th thing, because he was directly involved with that.
Again, not necessarily a threat. And again, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just trying to figure out where this information came from because I've never heard this before. I've never heard any credible source outside of the situation say, here we have evidence that proves that Dump did this, that, and the other thing. Like we have evidence, a lot of evidence of January 6th, right? We have their texts, we have their phone calls, we have their emails, we have Dump himself saying things on camera. But I didn't see, and again, not saying it doesn't exist. I'm just telling you,
And
I've never
then,
seen it.
yeah, I get where you're coming from. But then the day after, they both talked face to face in the situation room, and Pence directly told him, "I have nothing to say to you because you directly put my family in danger."
Again, that sounds like speculation. It's possible, but without proof, we really can't say it's a fact.
So the fact that he January 6th, they were yelling get Pence," and they
We
had a
that's evidence of the crowd saying that. Absolutely, we saw that. We recorded that.
and the NOOSE you know, that they had to
Right. That's not evidence of Dump doing that. That's evidence of the crowd doing that.
but we have evidence from the Secret Service messages that this was organized by Trump,
What was organized by Trump?
January 6th.
That's not what we were just talking about. We were talking about the chants that the crowd was making. So
Right.
again, I can't possibly say that what anyone is saying is wrong. What I'm saying is that no one has presented evidence so far, and I'm going to hold my panel to the same standard that I would hold anybody. Anybody that comes up here and makes a claim, I'm going to need to know where that claim is coming from. And so far, nobody has presented evidence that Dump directly threatened Pence and his family.
Yeah. Like in a court of law.
Exactly. I
I'm not-
mean, evidence matters. Facts matter, right? And look, I'm not going to put it past Dump because he's a piece of garbage. But I refuse to be like a MAGA hat and just go with it because it feels good, because it confirms my bias against Dump. I'm not going to do that.
And
Yeah,
we don't want to do,
understandable.
and we don't want to do that either. But we're just stating evidence that
No, you
possibly
haven't
hearsay.
stated any evidence, my friend. I don't want to keep belaboring this point. You have not stated evidence. Okay? Evidence is fact-based. Here it is, something we can point to, something we can look at, we can read, we can hear. That's evidence. And we don't have that right now in this particular allegation.
Okay. What about January 5th when he publicly came on television and said, "I will march with you"?
What's that have to do with what we're talking about?
He directly said, "I
Let
will."
me narrow the question more. You brought up the idea that Dump threatened Pence and his family. Somebody did. Somebody brought that up, right? What evidence do you have that that's true?
I do
And
not
saying
have.
I will march with you is not evidence that that's true.
Well, then in that case, I do not have direct evidence.
Fair
But
enough.
it
That's all I'm
it
talking
was
about.
said.
You don't know. Again, a lot of things were said. That doesn't mean they pertain to what we're fucking talking about.
Right.
If you have an accusation, bring it. Fine. I don't care. This guy's a piece of shit. Accuse him of whatever you want. But that doesn't mean that every accusation has merit. And it certainly means that even if we believe it's true, if we can't prove it, we can't state it as a fact.
Understandable.
So let's pivot. Let's pivot away from politics. Saturday Chill is devoted to being chill as much as possible. I don't mind that it came up. I don't mind that we went down this path for a little while. But now I'd like to pivot away and talk about positive things if possible.
So positive. My show is tomorrow and we're doing food. And
There you
I'm
go.
actually putting in my food blog. I'm doing a barbecue chicken, but I'm also doing a barbecue tofu for the vegetarians in the group. So the recipes can be found on my blog, How to Feed an Army on a Shoestring Budget. And so I hope that you will join us tomorrow. We have a chef coming in and that makes the barbecue sauce we're using. So
Let me give you some help in Marketing 101. What time are you going to be on?
I am going to be on at 6 p.m. Mountain Time tomorrow.
Excellent. That's always helpful.
It is. It is. And usually I'm pretty good about that. But yes,
Can
I'm so excited about the fact that we're going to
Yeah.
have barbecue chicken and
And by
barbecue
the
beef
way,
as well
I
with
have been a
Scooby.
vegetarian since 1987, and so I love the idea of barbecued tofu. There's, it's so funny to me that even now, I've been doing this for so long, and the questions that I got in 1987 are still the questions that I'm getting now, which is just more proof of how bad the American education system is. But the number one question I get is, where do you get your protein? Right. And anytime someone asks me that, what I know immediately, including if it's a doctor that asks me that, is that they're not qualified to have the conversation. They don't know enough to have the conversation, because protein is not as necessary as most people think it is. And of course it's necessary because it's part of the 3 macronutrients that a human being needs to live, but we don't need nearly as much protein as we're told we do. And in fact, the average American gets too much protein in their diet. So yeah. And what in the last few years, maybe the last 10 years, when people ask me, where do you get your protein? I say the same place a gorilla does. And nobody wonders if a gorilla is getting enough protein.
No, and actually, my partner's a vegetarian too, which is why I kind of do everything as both a regular item, right, and then
Hmm.
a vegetarian substitute
well,
stuff in there. So if you go to my recipes, you'll see those.
Excellent.
well, to be fair, um, I learned a couple years ago that there's plant proteins and then there's meat proteins.
Nope, that's completely
I,
incorrect. That's completely
okay,
incorrect.
sorry.
It is. I'm sorry to be so blunt about it, but protein is protein. The source of protein varies, but protein is a specific chemical composition of molecules, just like fat is, just like carbohydrates are, and it doesn't matter, the quality of the protein may vary depending on the composition. Like the one can be the one convenient thing about meat is that it has all 22 amino acids in it. Same with tofu, right? There's only a few substances on Earth that contain all 22 amino acids, right? But if you're eating a varied diet, no matter what kind of diet it is, chances are you're going to get enough protein. And if you're eating an American diet, chances are you're getting too much protein.
Right. Okay. So my next question is, what does tofu even taste like?
Almost
So
nothing.
tofu.
It's basically flavorless, and just like, think of tofu like chicken. Chicken, if you just boil up or fry up or bake up chicken, not that much flavor, but people add flavor to it, right? Almost every dish you eat in
Right.
the meat world, whether it's, meat, fish, fowl, whatever it is, you're going to add spices to that to change the flavor profile. Same thing is true with tofu.
So tofu is actually even more easier to deal with because it really soaks up whatever flavors that you make. So if you're making, for instance, barbecue chicken, you can pretty much make the tofu taste like the barbecue chicken
Exactly like
you're
barbecue chicken.
making
Yeah.
because it will, all of the seasonings that you use when you fry the chicken normally, you use those for the tofu, and then the barbecue sauce on top of it. You really almost can't tell if you're cutting up the chicken what's the difference, except for maybe a little bit of the texture, but the flavor, there's no difference.
I have a quick
Well,
story about that before I welcome up Blue and looks like Dawn, is it? Um, um, I'm going to tell a very quick story of a potluck dinner that I was invited to, probably about 10 years ago. I used to take a meditation class every Sunday, and we got together for a potluck dinner, and they sent an email chain around to um, ask everybody what they were making, and I just said sausage and peppers, right? And I looked up a traditional Italian sausage and peppers dish because I love Italian food. And I married an Italian long ago in a galaxy far, far away. And so I brought this and I made it with vegetarian sausage and brought it to the party. It was gone very, very quickly because it was delicious, if I say so myself. And then I waited till everyone was done and all the yummy noises had subsided. And I said, there was no meat in that, right? They're like, what? They were all shocked. And it's exactly what CompuBear said. If you use the same spices and you have at least an approximation of, the texture, then it's going to taste the same and it's going to feel the same. So
Right.
let's go say hello to Blue. How are you? I'm going to invite you to unmute your mic. How you doing, Blue?
Hello, how are you doing?
Excellent, excellent. I'm also going to invite Dawn Walcott, that looks like. Hello, Dawn.
Hi, Dawn.
Dawn, are you there, Dawn? Did you come up accidentally? Was it a tapping frenzy? Let me try to invite to unmute again. Let's see. Oop. I guess not. So Dawn, try again. Blue, what's going on? What's on your mind?
Oh, I was just listening in, and it's like an education thing. When people hear tofu, they're like, "What is that?" And I about it was kind of one of my undergrad minors, but I love mycology, and it sounds really dorky, but there is so much to be fascinated
Study of
about.
mushrooms, right?
Yes, mycology. Yep, and it. We actually had a group on Facebook before someone complained, thinking we were doing something with the magical unicorn kind. But we had probably over, I think, 47,000 people on my page there. But anyway, so there's a lot that I think mushrooms or fungi I should say fungi so we don't get kicked off, but they resemble the human body in the sense that our neurological system is basically like the mycelium of mushrooms. It can literally, if you take what's on the earth and you stretched it out, it can go to the moon and back 46 times. And it's like,
As I
basically,
recall, and please correct me if I'm wrong, don't mushrooms comprise one of the largest organisms on Earth?
oh yeah. And just like humans, they're 70 or 80%, and the earth even 80% water and 30% mass. If you were to dehydrate them, they literally shrink down to.
And they
very
can do amazing things. The mushrooms have been used to clean up oil spills.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
and there's a new one they found that actually not consumes, but consumes plastic
right.
in the
Yeah, and
environment.
they and that's a perfect description of it because once they soak up the oil, the byproduct is clean water. So like it's amazing what mushrooms can do. One of the Weinstein brothers, I forget whether it's Eric or the other one or Brett, but one of the Weinstein brothers used to go on Joe Rogan and talk about the amazing capabilities of the mushroom plants. And
Yeah.
this is out of left field seemingly, but the legend of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer comes from the fact that reindeer in, I think, Scandinavia or wherever they actually eat a mushroom that's red, and they tend to get red on their noses when they do that.
Yes. It's
WKRP, do you like that one? How about trivia, huh?
An interesting thing is they're using mushrooms now instead of styrofoam, right? They're using mushrooms. They're making it into packing. And
Yeah.
after you get the product, if you want, you can just take the packing out to your backyard, put it in the dirt, and grow mushrooms from it.
Right.
They're edible.
Yep.
So
And
you're getting
biodegradable.
food, right? It's biodegradable, but it will grow mushrooms that you can eat. So
Yep.
you get packing and food all at the same time.
Yeah.
Other
Yeah.
thing too is that there's, well, one I wanted to tell you is you're a vegetarian. There is ones you can buy these kits too. My favorite, it's this company in Maine, North Spores, what they're called, and they'll sell
Ha!
you a cardboard. But isn't that brilliant?
That is.
And by the way, my name is it's my title name is Blue ML. It stands for Mush Love because I love mushrooms. I love everything
Now
about
now it all comes together. Look at that.
yes. But you can buy a kit, and it's like a little cardboard box, and you cut an X in it in the bag, and right on your kitchen counter, you just spritz it a couple times a day, and it will grow this big. I don't know if you wanted blue oyster, which is a little bit more like seafoody, but if you get pink oyster mushrooms, pink oyster, of course, these big pink petals, and you could even make it a centerpiece of your table. You just like break it off, and you can. I mean, it's unbelievable the different mushrooms that they have that you can buy as these little kits that you cut a little X in it, and boom, you're growing shiitake.
Yeah.
But the pink oyster, it resembles the taste of pork more so than any other mushroom, and they're
Yeah.
beautiful. They're
Yeah,
beautiful.
there's one there's a big mushroom that's it's almost like a slab of meat, and people cook it like they do meat
Oh yeah,
dishes.
they
Yeah.
do. There's like the king trumpets. And so what with the if you put oil in a pan and you put these pink, call it petals, they look like big pink rose petals, and you put it in butter and in a frying pan, and you fry it as if you're making bacon, and you put a little salt on there. It literally, I did it just for s and gigs, shits and giggles. It tastes just like bacon, and even the consistency, the outside gets crispy, or if you want the whole thing crispy, or in the middle kind of not. And it literally, I like, I couldn't believe it how much it tastes like bacon with
Yeah.
none of the fat, but all of the good stuff. And you can add maple syrup to it, and it tastes like maple bacon or maple.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Really
So
good.
I have a question for CompuBear, but before we get to her, hello Danny, how you doing?
Danny!
Well, I'm not real well, but I wanted to come up and say hi to
Oh,
everybody. And
well, thank you for coming up,
Hey,
man. You know,
Danny.
always take care of yourself. If you need to drop down, please do. But I'll catch up with you and find out what's going on. But
But
I'm
anyway,
glad you're here.
I'm glad that you're having your chill Saturday tonight. I see we're only at 33,700 likes.
It
I
is
guess
kind of
everybody
shocking,
got
isn't
into
it?
the conversation.
Yeah.
But if you can get up to 50K, I know you can do it. You got 41 people in here. 50K is not a high goal, so let's
That's
get
10 more
him.
minutes. We could get there in 10
That's
minutes
right.
easily.
So tap the screen, share out the live. Do what I did. If you haven't done that daily heartbeat, hit that daily heartbeat. And he got some lightning bolts over here that on. He needs 50 more, which I'm going to knock out in a couple of seconds,
Oh, you're the
and then
best.
you need to put up a new gift goal. But anyway,
You
I
got it.
just wanted to say hi. I'm going to be quiet for a while, listen to this brilliant panel you got here, and thanks for bringing me up.
Oh, my pleasure, Danny. All right.
Danny, I hope you feel better.
We love
I
you,
do too,
Danny.
CompuBear. I appreciate you, Blue Mill. And I hope y'all have a good evening. I'm going to just hang here and wait to the end and talk to you at the end there,
All right.
Professor.
Perfect. All right. So I'll mute you up now, and then we'll get back to you later. And be action. If I recall correctly, your name is Beth.
That's right, Yoda. How are you?
I'm excellent. All the better that you're here now. What's going on with you?
Oh, uh, I'm unfortunately caught up in the Epstein crap,
We
and
have to say the files or epi or some other shit. Sorry
sorry.
about that.
I'm sorry.
I know.
Um,
I can't stand the fact that we have to speak like children. But go ahead. What we say?
well, um, I have a little bit of a story. Someone that I've known for a really long time. Um, lives in Dallas, Fort Worth. So I'm in Indiana. So we only communicate by text basically. And I found out when Jack Smith was appointed special counsel that she was deep into Q. I can say that, right?
I think so.
Okay. You know what that is, right?
I believe so, but go ahead.
Well, I think that a lot of the epi people are Q. And I think that they want justice because they're into, all the petty stuff, child stuff. But I don't think it's going to happen. To be honest, I think you know they're crazy. Most of their conspiracies never happen, and they're still, collecting Q drops or whatever it is that they call it. And I don't know. I don't know, Yoda. I'm disillusioned with our world.
Yeah. Something interesting happened this year, and I'm not trying to be flippant and I'm not trying to be insulting in any way. This is my own anecdotal observation.
Okay.
This year was the first year that YT folks got a taste of how minorities have been treated in America since 1492. And
Yeah.
they're unhappy about it, rightfully so, because we've always been unhappy about it. And,
Yeah.
I am pleased that unhappiness has turned into mobilization and people are doing things about it. Nothing's going to happen as fast as we want it to. There are a lot of things that we're going to be disappointed by, but there is a chance that maybe at the end of this, and unfortunately, I think it's going to get worse before it gets better, but maybe at the end of this, we'll have a little bit of a new paradigm that is a little bit easier for us to manage. Maybe. That's what my hope is. But with that, CompuBear, here's my question to you. What
Yes, sir.
is your favorite vegetarian dish, either to make or to consume?
I would have to say, believe it or not, spaghetti. And I do you can find it on my YouTube, but I do a homemade spaghetti sauce that I make from tomatoes myself.
Hmm.
And I tend to really like that. Sometimes I will make a basil, cream basil sauce,
Hmm.
and I really like that a lot. But I think spaghetti really is my favorite favorite thing. And occasionally I'll even as we talked about, fry up tofu, right, and put chunks of tofu on it, as if you were putting chicken on it or something like that. So I would cook it and use like basil or and oregano and quote Italian spices when you cook up the tofu, and
Absolutely.
so
Oh my,
right so that
Penelope sent me a super live. I've never seen that before. That looks amazing. Thank you, Penelope. Good to see you as always.
and you
Oh, I
add
got
a
that.
little
I
bit.
got that from the agency. Oh, cool, cool, cool. That's spectacular. Wow.
And a key thing is if you add a little bit of sage to it, which you normally wouldn't, it makes it taste a little bit more like chicken. Because we
Interesting.
associate sage with chicken, and it has an effect on the tofu to make it taste a little bit more like chicken. So
Yeah, what I
I always
found
add.
is that for stuff that's very common like pasta, the possibilities are endless. You can add so many different flavors. And sometimes you can go counterintuitive. Like I know there's like a lot of common practices with pasta in terms of the spices that you can use. But why not use Spanish spices once in a while, like adobo or something like that? Or you know, with tofu, one of the things I love to do is I'll buy dried tofu from Amazon. It's vegan and it's it's very convenient. Probably not well, not probably, definitely not the healthiest version that you can buy, but it's still pretty good. It's still fairly nutritious. And I'll make that all sorts of different ways because all you got to do is add water to reconstitute it. Then I'll drizzle some olive oil on it. I'll throw Cajun spices on it. I'll throw crushed red pepper on it. Absolutely delicious.
So I made an Indian dish with tofu and sweet potato the other night.
Oh, nice.
It was really, really good. Yeah. So I usually get the frozen from Kroger. They come in like little double packs, right? So you can either use a whole pack, or in our case, because there's only two of us, we just use half a pack of frozen tofu. And so
Gotcha.
we'll throw it in the microwave, defrost it a little bit, and I like that because it's already reconstituted and it's squishy and it
Yeah.
just soaks up the food better. Yeah, soaks up the seasonings better
Yeah, when I
at
buy
that point.
tofu, my favorite version is just the brick in water. So
Right.
it's not been frozen. It's so it's as close to the original version as possible. And it's I think those are 8-ounce bricks or something like that, and
That's what
that's
this is.
usually two meals will come from that, and they're only like $2 or $2.50, something like that.
It was $2.50 for them at Kroger's. That's exactly what I get, but I throw them in the freezer just so I have them, and I have a whole stack of them, and then that way I can just take them out as I need it. But that's exactly what I get, and it was $2.50 for it
Yeah,
the other
yeah,
day.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's the
So
way I
since
like to use
since
it.
we're on food, we'll keep the
Which
conversation
is my
going on
topic.
food.
My topic
Um,
for
so
tomorrow
this
is
this is a
food.
preview of what
Making me
CompuBear does
hungry.
on her live.
So,
So
Compy Bear. I'm sorry,
no,
Yoda,
go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Blue. I was just about to call on you, so fire away.
Oh, I was just
Uh,
gonna say this is making me hungry, and I've already eaten.
so, Compy Bear, I have a couple questions for you.
Sure.
I know we said that tofu lends itself to flavor, but does, is the texture like cheese or 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 what is the texture?
So it depends on what you buy as texture, right? It comes in different kinds of texture, depending, and of course, buying it for whatever you're going to make. The tofu that Yoda is talking about, I typically use as a chicken texture because it works out very well as a chicken texture. But you can get stuff that's more ground up, so it's more like meat texture at that point. Um, you can get
Okay.
so you can get all kinds of texture. You can get stuff that's much thicker, or you can get stuff that's thinner, more like a pudding tofu
Right.
texture.
What?
So you can make
Yeah.
that
So
into.
generically speaking, it's soft tofu, soft, and then medium firm, then extra firm. Those are the generic versions. But no matter what you buy, I tend to buy extra firm just because I like that the thickness of it. But how you cook it is going to determine the ultimate texture. Like if you saute it, if you fry it, if you bake it, it all is going to make a difference in how it comes out.
which
Well,
is
I
why
don't.
which is why we're frying it tomorrow, just like we're frying the chicken,
Right.
and we're frying it in seasoning first, and then once that's cooked and thoroughly through, then we're going to add the barbecue sauce through it, and then bake the barbecue sauce on it.
Well, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
The only reason why I asked is because I'm used to seeing tofu in squares, and I always wondered if it tastes like cheese or what the texture was. So thank you for enlightening me, because I've never had tofu, and I would be scared if I had to try tofu.
Oh no, don't be scared and come to my live tomorrow. But do note that, like, and you don't have to leave it in squares. I mean, you could make it into to round pieces. You can make whatever you want out of it.
Yeah.
It,
You
it
can make it like
yeah.
scrambled eggs if you want to. Scrambled tofu is a very popular breakfast amongst vegetarians.
I'll have to try that one day and see how tofu actually tastes.
Yeah,
Because
I'll
that
I'll
sounds
tell you what the
really
easiest
good.
thing to do is just go to a vegetarian restaurant. I have converted so many meat eaters. Like my best friend is a giant of a man. Okay, he's 6'5", and when I first met him, he was 300 pounds because he was a football player. And this guy was like caveman DNA through and through, right? And had never tried anything vegetarian to his knowledge. And I took him to a Thai restaurant where they had this vegetarian duck dish. And this guy and this was in 2001, and he's still talking about it. So to me, that's the low hanging fruit of trying vegetarian food is just go to a restaurant. That way you don't have to figure out how to make it and buy ingredients and all that other shit. And then you can figure out if you like it or not. I mean, to me, food is
Well, then,
food. There's nothing magical about being vegetarian or being vegan. It's just a menu choice. That's all it is, right? All these people that wax poetic and get in your face about, don't you know what you're doing, blah, blah. I'm not like that at all. I don't care what anybody else eats. I only care what I eat, right?
well, then let me say this. I might try tofu, but I don't think it would be a permanent staple of my diet.
Well, thankfully, I don't care. Whatever floats your boat, you know?
So I want to throw out I want to throw out a pointer that I tell people that they're not usually aware of. When you go to cook anything in herbs, put a little like olive oil or put a little oil on the bottom and then put your herbs in first. So that pulls out the flavor of the herbs and then put your tofu on top of it. Most people kind of like put the oil and put the tofu in and then put the herbs on, and it doesn't pull the flavor out as well. So it pulls the flavor out and then it soaks into the tofu. So
Yeah,
that's
I've
a pointer.
actually done that. I do a variety of things. Sometimes I wait till it's out of the pan to put on the herbs. Sometimes I cook with it. Sometimes I do what you're talking about. I put in the herbs first. It all depends on my mood.
So if
WKRP,
you
let's talk food, man. Yeah, what's your favorite food to eat?
Hey,
WKRP? There you go.
yeah, cornbread dressing.
Cornbread dressing. I've never heard of
Yeah,
cornbread dressing.
Mm.
wow. I like
I'm
Thanksgiving. You know how they have
I'm
dressing and
surprised because it's vegan actually.
Okay. So
it's
what were you saying,
vegan.
WKRP?
Yeah, you know, like at Thanksgiving, how they have some people have how whatever kind of dressing they have stuffed the dressing, but I like cornbread dressing. It's creative with just cornbread. They may have like some cut up piece of turkey or some type of chicken or meat in it, livers or something. But it's cornbread dressing, and I love it. But that's
Okay.
my favorite type meal. Yeah. But I have tried vegan pizza. My friend he's a chiropractor doctor, and he's also a vegan, and he has a shop dealing with that. And man, I tried it. It was so good.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, there's
But
this
how come
company called
everything?
Daya, which is
Yeah.
DAIYA, and they make a few different types of vegan pizza. They have the veggie vegan pizza, which is real good, and they have the pepperoni vegan pizza, which is absolutely stunning. I love it. I refer to that as a budgasm.
And I look at you. I love it. But how come everything's so good for you? Man, it can be very expensive. Some people are like,
Well,
wow,
there's a
it
long
really
answer to
can.
that, but it has to do with corruption.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
it,
that's
it can
just that's just about discouraging people. Like in America, for all the money and technology that America has, we don't do very well on the health index. This is a very unhealthy country, and with regard to the to the comparison or connection to wealth and technology, it's shockingly unhealthy.
Well, it's like a head of iceberg lettuce. In Mexico or India or anywhere else, it's 25 cents, if even accounting for trade. It's 25 cents a head. Here it's $1.50, right? The cost of vegetables here are so much more expensive than anywhere else in the world. And it just doesn't make sense to me that we should be paying that much for
It's just
vegetables.
price gouging. It's just corporate price gouging. It's the same thing that happened during the lockdown. In 2021, these companies saw record profits like the dollar store and other companies like it. And then they raised their prices in 2022.
Mhm.
Absolutely disgusting. So, Blue, let's get on
You're
to
right.
your favorite food. What is the food that you love to eat more than any other?
Does it have to be vegetarian?
No.
Oh gosh, my favorite food. I mean, I am Italian, um, but more so for the cheese aspect of it. So if I were to make a dinner like for a date or something to impress them, is obviously going to be one that I love, and it probably stuffed shells. But I do baked stuffed shells. And the cool thing you can do too is instead of using marinara sauce, if you're a cheese lover like me, and I think who was it in the comments? I can multitask, by the way. I have ADHD. But in the comments, somebody said, Zaza was saying that she loves cheese. But you can bake it on the top and you can use Alfredo sauce. And it is baller. You can use penne alla vodka sauce, but on stuffed shells and bake it. Baller. My weakness, though, is pizza.
Mm. Yeah, pizza is it's peasant food from Italy. And by the way, if you go to Italy, like my second ex-wife did, she came back and said that like
The
the
food is
way
atrocious.
Italians eat in America is far different than the way they
Oh,
eat
yeah.
in Italy. You know, like it's not unusual to have an appetizer, which is just a bowl of cherry tomatoes, and they just pop them in while they talk and drink their unsulfured wine. you know, uh,
What is your favorite food? I'm curious.
um, well, since I'm a fat guy, more is obviously my favorite, but um,
You.
I have a few that I really love. What did I make recently? Oh, okay. I made uh I made plantains with vegan sausages and avocado, and I
Ooh.
was just
Mm.
in heaven, in absolute heaven. A little bit of sea salt, a little bit of olive oil. Oh my God. My mouth is watering just thinking about it. So
I know. I think all of ours our mouths are watering.
Beth, what's your favorite food?
Well, I'm not a vegetarian, but if I was going to have something along those lines, I like a vegetable pizza, and I don't cook too much, so I order mine from Domino's. But
Well,
then I go ahead and I add chicken to it.
okay. So how about well, the chicken stopped it from being vegetarian, but like non-vegetarian, just all-time favorite food.
Probably salmon.
Ah, okay. Very healthy, but only if it's fresh wild salmon, right? We don't want that farm
Right.
stuff.
Can you
That
eat
is
can you
true.
eat eggs and fish and cheese on your diet, Yoda?
I can if I want to. I'm close to being vegan, but I tend not to eat eggs. I never eat cheese. Um, and so and I love since I love pasta, and I know that there are vegan pasta alternatives, but because I love Italian food so much, I love authentic Italian food. The substitutes always leave me wanting. But
Well,
yeah, because I love pasta, because I love bread, and I do love butter. I can't call myself a vegan, but I'm like 95 to 98% vegan.
So
And
I
you
have
don't
one
eat
for you.
cheese.
I
I
have
don't eat
one
cheese,
for
no,
you.
and I don't miss it. And
Me
especially
either.
since Daiya came along, that company Daiya makes the best substitute cheese I've ever had.
So I have
Really?
one.
I
I
never
have
eat
one
cheese
for
either.
you. a meatless meatloaf. You have a
What?
recipe for meatless meatloaf
Wow.
that's
Yeah, I've had
really
that.
good.
I've had that.
And so
Delicious.
that comes up with a question. So there are two types of vegetarians: those who are willing to substitute things like Impossible Burger or the new Impossible Chicken, right, instead of the real stuff. That are okay with that, eating that. But then there are those that won't eat it because it's like the original, right? They don't want anything that tastes like the original, like chicken or like hamburger or that kind of thing. Where do you fall on that?
I don't particularly care. I find it hilarious that like almost every vegetarian, when they first become a vegetarian, eats all the things that resemble the things that they just stopped eating.
Great point, Bobby.
But I had a diner near me when I lived in Queens a few times, and this was 1986. I had moved in with a woman, and about a mile from us, there was a diner called, I think, Smile of the Beyond. And what was interesting is that it was a regular diner, but they had a segment of their menu at the back for the disciples of Sri Chinmoy, who he was just a guru. And they believed they were into health, but it was funny because they loved dessert. They ate very healthy and they had very healthy lifestyles, but they would pig out on desserts all the time. But that menu at the back of that restaurant was really great because I was in the process of becoming a vegetarian at that point because it took me about a year and a half. I gave up meat first, starting sometime in early 1986, maybe late 85, something like that. And then I gave up fish. Seafood was actually very easy for me to give up. And then the last thing, which was my favorite food, was chicken. So that took a year and a half. And then after that, I found my way. And in the beginning, I didn't know what to eat. Like it was a spontaneous decision. I was just like, yeah, I'm going to be a vegetarian. And I ate like cheese sandwiches and pasta because I didn't know what else to eat. And so I had to like learn everything about the vegetarian cuisine. And what I found is kind of counterintuitive. People tend to think that there's so little to eat if you're not eating meat, and I found that there's so much more to eat because now you have world cuisine at your fingertips, and there are many parts of the world that have a lot of vegetarian and vegan options. Like Ethiopian food is probably one of my favorites. Indian food, absolutely. But Ethiopian food, they have a lot of meat dishes, a lot of lamb, all that other stuff, but they also have a big selection of vegetarian food. And if you have never eaten at an Ethiopian restaurant, please treat yourself to do that. It's amazing food, and it's very cool because they don't use utensils. They use this spongy kind of bread that they tear off and pick up the food with to eat it. So now my mouth is watering again.
So I have another question to ask you.
Yeah.
What do you think, and would you eat some of the new, what they call Petri dish
No.
chicken and beef?
No.
Okay.
No, that creeps me out. No, it just
Because
does. It's just the idea. Like, I mean,
because you don't have to kill an animal to eat
I
it,
understand,
right?
and we got to be careful with the K word, but I totally get that the cruelty of it is eliminated, and that's a big selling point. But that wasn't why I became a vegetarian. I became a vegetarian for health reasons. The cruelty stuff attaches itself to that, and like I used to do my best to avoid buying leather shoes and leather belts and things like that. But that was always a secondary consideration for me. So even though it satisfies that idea, it just creeps me out that like the idea of putting meat in my mouth and digesting that, I have a feeling that my body might even reject it. Because if it's meat, it's lab grown meat, but it's still meat, right? So there have been occasions, like I remember one time I was at an Italian restaurant, and this was before I gave up cheese, So I ordered cheese ravioli, but they accidentally gave me some meat in it, and I didn't even notice. I was just eating and talking, and then suddenly my stomach was grumbling, and then I looked and I was like, oh fuck, I got some meat in this. And so I know that, after a while, and every vegetarian that's gone back will tell you this, if you've been a vegetarian, even just for a few months, and then you start eating meat again, your body reacts badly to it. And of course, there are degrees, but I've heard people that got very, very sick when they went back. So at this point, from 1987 to now, I'm guessing my body wouldn't handle it well.
Yeah, my partner is one of those who cannot eat meat and gets very sick even at the slightest bit of meat in it. So yeah, I totally get that.
Um, for the record, my absolute favorite dish, although I only eat it every once in a while because I can't eat it because I would get fat, is chicken Alfredo with broccoli.
There you go. That sounds amazing. And by the way, I have a strategy. When I love a food, I generally only eat it once, twice, or maybe 3 times in a year because I always want it to stay my favorite food.
Well, that's how I am with chicken Alfredo. And I don't get it that often. So that's why it's always my favorite.
There you go. Well, whatever gets you
Especially
through the
Hungry.
night, as they say.
especially if it's grilled chicken.
All right, grilled chicken Alfredo. That's a solid dish. And they say, it was John Lennon who said, whatever gets you through the night, it's all right. So let me give all due deference and respect to Mr. Lennon. All right, we lost Beth. But all right, let's go from the bottom up and start closing things out with final thoughts. We've been all over the place. The first hour we were on politics. The second hour we've been on food, and I'm all for it. So, Blue Dog, what are your final thoughts for the evening?
Um, given that this has been my first ever time on your panel, and not knowing your critiques when it comes to Saturday, I think I did pretty well.
Excellent. I think that too. All right. So with that, have a great night. I'll drop you down. Keep tapping the
Yes.
screen to let us know that you're there. CompuBear, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. I my final thoughts are that this week has just been feeling like you're on a roller coaster. And every morning I wake up almost panicked as to what is the news going to hold that the administration did this time. And I'm trying desperately to find that peace and that middle of the road and, find that healthy alternative, which is why I'm doing my live the way I'm doing it. But it's still, it's really hard. It's really hard to find that balance with everything that's going on. So that's all I have to say. And don't forget 6 p.m. Mountain Time.
6 p.m. Mountain Time tomorrow. And there's a good chance that I'll be there. So pleasure as always. Thank you for everything and talk to you soon. I see that Ikora is here. How you doing, Ikora? So happy to see you. I hope you're feeling better. WKRP. Final thoughts, sir.
Yes, man. Final thoughts. Great live.
Thank you.
Talked about more than politics, which is great. Talked about
Yes.
food, which is my
Yes.
category.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Hey, Danny, make a
yeah,
note of
so-
that. Food might be a good trivia category, so we can give WKRP a fighting chance.
yeah. But it was great, and I had a blessed time. And like I said, and I tried some different cuisines as well, as you know. But veterinarian. Here come the kids. Let me close this door here because they're getting
Yeah,
loud. Mama bringing in pizza.
yeah.
But being a vegetarian, it is great. It works for some people. I tried it for about a good month, and I'm like, man, I can't keep up with this, but still try. Still like,
Yeah,
oh
it's
well.
look, like anything else. Here's what's interesting about, I will say, typical meat eaters, even though you're not really meat eaters, the typical omnivore, right? The way you eat was just based on the way you've always eaten. And of course, there's nothing wrong with that. It's how you were raised, right? So when people say they love meat, I'm like, are you sure? Or is it just what you're in the habit of eating, right? So when you're going to change your habit, it obviously takes effort, it takes thought, it takes strategy, preparation, all that stuff, right? And I had a hard time in the beginning, but I was convinced that being a vegetarian was going to help my health, and I was right, but that's what propelled me to keep going when I didn't know what to eat, when I wasn't sure how to do it, when I had to develop these new habits. I had to be in a part of the supermarket that I'd never spent time in before, so it does take effort. And of course, it's not the only way to eat. It's just one way to eat. But yeah, people very often quit just because it's difficult. But here's I think an interesting question. Why did you even try being vegetarian for a month? What was your thinking at that point?
Man, to basically be healthier, and I started working back out again, and just I don't know, to have a more enlightened, to be.
Oh, you cut out. I heard a
Yeah,
pop in
somebody
your.
was calling.
Oh, there you go.
Someone was
So you
calling.
said
Yeah.
part of it was to be enlightened. That's interesting.
Yeah. And because that's something soul searching and seeking about something. The Daniel, I was doing a Daniel fast, is called. It's biblical in the Bible. It's just having just vegetables, water, in a time spirituality type thing, and for
Interesting.
my physical being as well. Yeah.
So, did you ever read about the recipe for Ezekiel bread in the Bible?
No, I haven't. No, 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 no.
Do
Not the
yourself a
recipe is.
favor. Do yourself a favor
Okay.
and look that up. Ezekiel bread. I know
Okay.
you
I'll
know how
do
to
that
spell
tonight.
Ezekiel, so I'm not going to bother. But
Yeah.
look for Ezekiel bread recipe in the Bible. I'm just going to give you a little bit of a spoiler. One of the
Yeah.
ingredients is human shit.
No way. I don't know about that one.
First of all, don't ever fucking question me about the Bible. I know more than you do about the Bible. Okay?
No, I'm not saying. I'm just saying about the human shit. I'm like, man, please.
Yeah. Okay. So let me Ezekiel bread recipe Bible. I'm gonna tell you exactly where to find it.
Oh
All right.
wow, human.
Ezekiel bread. So Ezekiel 4:9.
I got you. Chapter 4, verse 9.
And
Got
and
you.
look for the word dung.
Done. Okay.
D-U-N-G, dung, which means
D-U-N-G.
shit. And they specify that it's from a human.
Sweet Jesus.
So
Well, I hope you
I
try.
want everyone to just take note that WKRP is a religious man, and I am not,
Yeah.
and I knew something about the Bible that he didn't.
Yeah, I did not know that part. Trust me. You go, Yoda.
Reading is fundamental, my friend, and I have read the Bible. And what's funny is that most people, I'm not saying you, but most people that I have ever met in my life, and I'm confident in saying not you because I know that you read scripture, right? But
Uh-huh.
what
Yeah.
I also know is that just about everybody that I've ever met that said that the Bible was something important to them as part of their religion had never read the
Yeah.
Bible.
Wow.
Because if you read the Bible, you'll see sections like when Jesus cursed a fig tree.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
right? You'll see the part where
When the
God
seeds on it.
sent a
Yeah.
she bear to end the lives of a group of teenagers because
They
they
were
were making
mocking. Yeah.
fun of a man who was bald.
Elijah. Yeah.
And I
That's
and I
correct.
have had people tell me that I was a filthy liar for saying that, and I'm like,
No, you're
gotcha,
right. No, that's in the
gotcha.
word. That's in the Bible. That's in the
There's a
Bible.
lot of
That's in the
wild
Bible.
shit in the Bible.
Yeah, you're right. They were wrong. You were right.
You know, like cutting the tip of your dick off. That's some wild shit.
So, boy, you so real.
But anyway, as always, WKRP, it's a pleasure to have you up here. It's a pleasure to know you. It's one of the benefits of TikTok. I got to meet people that more than likely I would have never met. So thank you for being here again.
Always, my brother. Always, man. You have a blessed one. Always enjoy.
Thank you. All right, then. So we are up to Blue. What's up, Blue?
Yes. Well, hey, first of all, great live, as always, informative advocacy on angel or devil side. It's wonderful. I'm always learning. And it also helps with, public speaking for myself and anxiety and all that. And
Oh, nice.
being able
Good.
to being able to get on a panel and know you're next, that fear,
Yeah,
it's helpful in a lot of ways,
that's
to
great.
provide, yeah, and provide a voice for a lot of people who may sit back and not even touch a comment and then become commenters and then be able to speak articulately their mind and pull back on emotion. And it's a good learning experience for everyone, and you provide that space, and so I really do appreciate that.
Thank you.
I will say, it's wonderful to be able to talk about our favorite foods. And, just want to remind people that there's a lot of wasted food. There's a lot of hungry people and children. And, as you go to bed, Yoda, you say that you go over what you're grateful for. I do exactly the same thing. It's basically what a Catholic would call nighttime prayer. And one is that, was I fed today? Was I housed today? Did I have water? Are the dogs okay? Medications for dog. It's the same. And to be grateful to have the ability to select your meal, because
Mm-hmm.
there are times when you don't, and or you might not know that, but a lot of people don't. And so just be grateful, and always remember to be grateful that if you have that option, to pick your foods. And I will say, I'll end on, energy does go where energy flows. And so that goes for all of your senses. If you touch something hot, it's going to burn you. If you eat something good, what the energy goes where it flows. If you listen to good, if you listen to bad, if you smell bad, if you smell good, if you see good, if you see bad, at the end of the day, you choose the input that goes into your body from all of your senses. And energy goes where energy flows. If the news is stressing you out, because there's a lot going on right now, you have to create a boundary for yourself and say, I'm going to stay off it today and I'm going to sit outside. And when you do that, look at your surroundings and remind yourself you're safe. You have you at least you hopefully have a house over your head, or you're warm, or you can stay cool, or your basic needs are met. And ground yourself. Keep yourself grounded, because that energy goes where energy flows. And when it takes over and all your senses, it's all negative, you got to pull back sometimes and take a breather and ground yourself. So just like with food, what you eat good, you eat bad, the energy, it's going to affect you somehow, some way. So remember to give yourself some grace, as far as all of the chaos on the news right now. And thank you again for this awesome live. And hi, Danny. I
Absolutely.
hope you feel better.
I have a technical question for you. Are you
Sure.
speaking into a phone or a mic?
You're on speaker.
No, you. Are you speaking into a phone or a microphone connected to the phone?
Oh, I'm speaking into my phone while you're on speaker. Is it hard to
Gotcha.
hear?
No, 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 not at all. I was just curious because the clarity of your voice is pretty impressive, and also you have good technique, because I don't hear plosives like I don't hear
Oh,
that
yeah.
stuff when you're talking. So you're, as a public speaker, you're doing well so far.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I have all these critiques in my head when people are fucking it up. So I'm
Yeah.
happy to say that you're doing a great job at it.
Well, thank
All right. Well,
you.
thank you so much for coming by. Hopefully we will see you soon.
Have a great night.
All right. Let's see. So I want to linger for a moment before we get to Danny's final thoughts. On the subject of gratitude. I want to just explain to everybody how easy it is to be grateful. There's no barrier. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to go anywhere. There's literally no barrier. You can just decide to be grateful. And I think part of gratitude is sort of mindfulness. I think they go hand in hand. Like last year, I was starting my shower, right? And I turned on the water, and for some reason I noticed that I could wait until the water got hot, and then I could adjust it to be the temperature that I wanted, and I realized what a luxury that is. It is a luxury. If you can sit and wait for water to get to the right temperature, to the temperature that you like before you take a shower, that's a luxury, right? If you're sleeping indoors, that's a luxury. It is not a necessity. People live outdoors, whether they want to or not sometimes, but it is not absolutely a necessity for you to live, for you to sleep indoors. And if you do, that's something that you can decide to be grateful for. You can just say, hey, I'm grateful that I sleep indoors. I'm grateful that I have running water. In my case, I have running water in my bathroom and in my kitchen, and I'm so fancy that I filter the kitchen water for that extra first world experience. But I can do that because I'm in a position to do that, like most of us hopefully are. And I know that there are people that don't have that. And so I'm grateful that I do. All right. I'm grateful that even if my refrigerator and my cupboards have no food, I'm no more than 3 minutes away from food at any given time. And that's not because I order food to me, although once in a while I do order groceries to be delivered, but I can put on some stuff and walk out my door, and at the corner, there are, depending on the time, there are several different places where I can get food. And if it's late at night, like now, if I decide that I want food, there's a Shell station a block away from me where I can't get high quality food there, but I can get food. And I'm grateful for that. And so if you want to start feeling better in your life, I guarantee you, if you start making gratitude a practice, a daily practice where at least once a day, you just decide to go down a mental list or a list that you've written out. I have the list in my phone. It's a daily task that pops up automatically. I almost never read it because I don't have to, because I am in the habit throughout the day of just being grateful. And sometimes I even express it verbally just to put it into the world. The physical vibration of my voice moving the air around me and causing sound, and just saying, I am grateful. I'm grateful for my comfortable couch, for my 50-inch television, for my shit box of an apartment that has all the charm of a condemned building. I'm grateful for that. There is no barrier to being grateful. So just decide. Just decide to be grateful. No one can stop you. Nothing can stop you. Just be grateful. Danny, my friend, I'm so glad that you joined. What are your final thoughts for the evening?
Well, before I go into final thoughts, we got you at 80,000 K.
Spectacular. You guys
I
are
was
great.
working the chat. I was tapping the screen. They were tapping, we were clapping, we were sharing. I shared out to about 40 people. A few of them came in, as you noticed,
Yes.
and your
The
number
head
went up.
tapper in chief, man. That's why we call you the head tapper in chief. It's wonderful to
So
have your support.
I wished I could have been here earlier, but I got up this morning about 7:30. I had somebody here, working on my house, doing some painting and touch up, and been here the last few days, and I wanted to make sure if he needed something, I was up. So anyway, then as the day went on and Carol finally got up about noon, I was not feeling good, so I just went to bed, and I didn't get up till 6 o'clock here.
Wow.
And I noticed you were on. That's why I sent you that message, let you know that I wasn't going to be able to make the. I'm usually there, the first one here and the last one to leave. Well, that
Yep.
wasn't the case today. But anyway, I'm hoping to feel better tomorrow. If not by Tuesday, I'm gonna hope to do my live on Monday. I got a very important thing to talk about Monday that I read about today in the news that just appalls me. So I'm not gonna introduce it tonight because it's a sad story, and I want to leave it this happy chill day on a positive note. But I, after listening to you guys talk about food, and of course, I wished I was hungry. I hadn't eaten anything all day. I finally had a grilled cheese sandwich that Grandma made me and some soup. Uh, I have to think about you coming in August, being a vegetarian, but I'm gonna have to figure out about the barbecue and the and other things.
Don't worry.
Plus if
I'll
we go
I'll
out
go to
to
the supermarket and bring my own shit. Don't worry about it.
no, you don't have to do that. We'll figure it out. We'll talk before that happens
Yeah,
anyway. But
absolutely.
I just, uh, and I definitely hope I'm up tomorrow to watch an CompuBears thing because food always interested me, and uh, and I like to cook. I used to cook a lot back in the day. And WKRP, you're in the chat yet. I want to say that I've had that cornbread dressing that you described before once in my life. It was many, many years ago, back in the 70s. So, and it is good. I've never had it ever since then because, let's face it, these Northerners don't have no idea to make that type of cornbread dressing. So that's one of those things that you got to have somebody from the South that knows what they're doing down there. It's like Cajun food. If you want good Cajun food, you go down to New Orleans. If you or somewhere in that area down there, you don't go to New York City. That's for
Right.
darn sure.
Right. Yeah. Hey,
But anyway, it was
there's
a
a lot of
great
truth to
ride.
that. Some places, that's why when I talk about Italian food, I reference that I want like authentic Italian food. If someone suggests that we go to the Olive Garden, I will stop talking to them forever
You'll
because
bitch
that's an
slap them.
abomination to me.
I agree. I've been to Italy several times, and you're spoiled when you go to a place that really knows how to make Italian
Yeah.
food. Just
Yeah.
like when I lived in Greece, same way. When I go to a Greek restaurant here in the States, I'm so disappointed because it's not the same to what I had over there.
Right.
And Korean food, even though there's some great Korean foods in my area, because there's a lot of Korean that live here that came over with the military, they married and everything. But
Hmm.
good food here, I have to admit, the Korean food here is excellent. But over in Korea, it is the best. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
so
I
anyway,
love
so
kimchi. It's one of the healthiest things you can eat.
oh, I love kimchi. I mean I buy it by the jar. I get a jar at a time because you get too much.
Yeah.
It spoils real easy if you don't eat it quick enough. So I buy a small jar at a time, and I eat it with a lot of different things.
Yeah.
I've eaten it by itself before,
Yeah, yeah.
just to eat it. But anyway, thank you for having me up.
Of
Again,
course.
I'm sorry that today was the day for me to sit there and get punked out. I think I got a virus. It's probably. I haven't been out nowhere. Nowhere. I haven't seen nobody. But doesn't take anything to get you to get one.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, you
But
never
anyway,
have to
Monday,
apologize to me for taking care of yourself, but go ahead, do your PSA.
Monday, 3 p.m. Pacific. It's the way of positive change with Danny.
please attend. I am going to talk about a couple of three things that came up that I didn't know about, and also a general discussion about those things that we're going to talk about on Monday. Mainly, it's going to about immigration and how we can correct what is happening right now, because we need a positive way of getting out of this mess.
Excellent. I
And
love it.
and it starts in 2026. It's going to be here before you know it. So we need to start talking about it now. But anyway, it's Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Monday and Wednesdays is current events, 3 p.m. Pacific time, and on Fridays it is Happy Friday with Trivial Pursuit. And I hope that more people come on Friday. We only had like 14 people, but or less. It was even less at a lot of time, 8 people. So please come for game day. It's a lot of fun, and you get to hear Yoda pick up all the points, and WKRP looking for some. So thanks a lot, Yoda.
He's catching shrapnel when he's not on here. All right. Have a great night, Danny. So, folks, I don't know if you've ever heard the idea of a quiet giant, right? That's Danny to me. He is a giant amongst men. If you have missed out on his live shows, you truly are missing out on one of the gems that's available on social media. All right. His live shows are meaningful, they're purposeful, they're kind, compassionate. It really is about positive change. Even when the subject matter is dark and sad, Danny looks for the positive aspect of it, the things that we can do, the options for change. It's a beautiful thing. I love being associated with it. I love being there. I'm always pissed off if for some reason I have to miss even a minute of it. But please follow Danny and get involved. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern time, adjusted for your time zone. And Fridays, Trivial Pursuit. It's so much fun. I promise you, if you come by on Friday for Trivial Pursuit, you will understand that we have a tremendous amount of fun. You know, I slept through half of Trivial Pursuit yesterday because I just was exhausted, and I slept through my alarm. I actually set an alarm because I wanted to make the game, and I slept through it, and I caught half of it, so I was okay. But I had to be in the chat instead of being up on the panel, and being in the chat is very frustrating. Sometimes you type an answer and nobody sees it. But it was still a lot of fun. So for the hour and a half that I was there, while I was getting ready, I was able to have some fun with the gang. So definitely check it out. So I don't think there's much more to talk about. Thank you for getting me to 90,000 in 2 hours and 14 minutes. It's a beautiful thing. Thank you to all of the wonderful people that came up. And, there was a lot of different energy tonight. We spent the first hour talking about politics. And even though it wasn't on my agenda, it was necessary. Someone had it on their mind to speak about that. And they did. And I was all for it, because the last thing I want to do is be slavish to an agenda. Right. So I had my agenda for Casual Saturday, but something else happened that was even better than my agenda. We had a great conversation for an hour, and then when we turned to the topic of food, even better, right? And, we get to learn about each other. We get to interact and just be human and be kind and caring and loving and supportive. This is my whole thing, and yes, I'm brash, and yes, I'm bombastic, and yes, I say outrageous shit sometimes, but my overarching desire is for everyone to be good. Just be happy, be taken care of, be healthy and fed and housed. This is what I want for everybody. All right. So, sometimes you got to ignore the messenger and listen to the message. So good night, Ikora. So glad that you were here. Always a delight to see you. And the better you feel, the more I hope to see you. and everybody else who sent gifts and tapped and shared and made comments. I appreciate you more than I can express, especially the folks that keep coming back night after night. I love it. I love that we're getting to know each other. I love that we're creating this little family dynamic. You know, I love that I'm getting on a plane for the first time in 10 years for fun next month, if I'm lucky enough to live that long, and go visit Danny in person and a few of the other folks in our sphere. That's going to be amazing. I already know. There's a, if anyone wants to bet on the over under on how much I'm going to be crying while I'm up there, bet the over. Okay, bet the over. That's a safe bet. So with that, folks, another great Yoddah Live, and not great because of me, but great because of everybody that joined and everybody that contributed. And I'm here Mondays through Saturdays, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Sunday, I take a day off and focus on making content and relaxing and all that other good stuff. So hopefully I'll see you Monday. Until then, peace, love, and granola. Talk to you soon.